Hi everyone, Michael here from Shopify. Welcome to today's webinar on leveraging Shopify's latest products for business growth. In today's fast-paced e-commerce world, the need for a strong business foundation is very important. The products and features that we'll be introducing today are the Shopify subscriptions app, Shopify bundles, one-page checkout, fulfillable inventory, exchanges, our new web performance dashboard, privacy and compliance, the Shopify POS updates, and our Shopify collabs updates. Today we'll be sharing our new Winter 2024 editions offering to unlock business potential. We'll go through the best practices and step-by-step walkthroughs for setting up and utilizing new capabilities. Feel free to interact and participate throughout the webinar with our Shopify community and our YouTube live chat for personalized advice. We've created this webinar in a way that's beneficial for both seasoned Shopify users as well as newcomers. With that, let's get into our exciting new product updates for you so you can prepare for a successful business year. So the first thing we're going to discuss is the Shopify subscriptions app. So some of the benefits of this app would be that it is very easy to set up and it has a seamless integration with the Shopify admin. So it has a lot of different comprehensive subscription management features that allow you to set it up in the way that you would like and need for your store that we're going to go through in our demo in a moment. The app has the potential to increase the customer lifetime value through subscriptions by 56%. And also with the subscription model, there's obviously the potential for recurring revenue. So that's an added benefit of using the Shopify subscriptions app. Also, there's an option called subscribe and save. So that's a model that can be used for customer convenience that you sometimes see on stores where, for example, if a customer opts to subscribe for a certain amount of time, they'll see a discount for 10, 15% or something like that as an incentive. So the ideal users for this kind of a model would be a merchant who's exploring subscriptions or has simple subscription needs. So something kind of relatively straightforward and nothing too complex for the store. The Shopify subscriptions app supports business growth as well. So that's done through guaranteed regular income, for example. And as mentioned, it has the potential to add higher revenue as the subscriptions increase with time as well. So let's take a look at the app here. So we'll go to apps and then subscriptions. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is go into create plan here. And you can give this a title. So we can call this soap subscription. And then this is the option here that the customer will see. So subscribe and save. And then the plan title, I should mention, is for the backend or internal use only. So it's what the merchant will see in your admin, but it won't be seen by the customer. So let's see. What products can we subscribe to here? So because it's called soap subscription, we could maybe add in our soaps, select those. Perfect. And then as you can see here at the bottom, you can choose whether you would like to offer a discount or not, and then what that discount will be. So you can choose a percentage, an amount off, or a flat rate. And then under here, we see the frequency. So we can make the subscription weekly, and then, for example, if a customer did a weekly subscription, we might want to give them 20% off, and then if they did bi-weekly, maybe 15, and then monthly, maybe 10, or yearly, 5% off, or something like that, whatever works or suits for your store. So then once you're happy, you can have a little look at the summary here, make sure everything looks good, and then save here on the bottom. And then you can see that the subscription plan has been saved. And then we can have a look here in our plans. And then we see the subscription. You can choose to delete it if you need. And then review your details or update them at a later time if you also need to do that. So that pretty much, this goes through everything to do with the subscriptions. It's generally quite straightforward. And then if you want to see what it looks like, we can head to our online store, themes, and then customize. And then we can go to our templates here, products, choose our defaults. And then for the purpose of this demonstration, we'll choose the soap for the preview. So it's not a super necessary thing, but just so you can kind of see how it will look for the particular product. And then under here we can choose add block on the left, and apps, subscription, and then we see here that the options have popped up. So you can see our weekly, bi-weekly, monthly and yearly discounts. And then on the right here, we can choose what we want to display. So we can have the different colors, the borders, and the corner radius. And could change the title here if we'd like, or remove it altogether even. And then we can link our subscription policy if we'd like. So we can go into our policies, and then if we have our subscription policy, or if we created a page first, it can be linked in here. And then product, you can add a different product in here if you'd like. So usually it'd be related to the product in question for the product page, but if you wanted, you could replace with a different product. So that can be done in here. And then if you change your mind for any particular reason, you can remove the block here at the bottom. So then once you're happy enough with how things look, you can go up and save, but let's add in a quick title here first. So we could say subscription, and you see it's appeared back here again. So we can save it up here in the top right. And then you can see it's added to all our product templates. So if we go into another example here, so our grey tail. So if you remember when we created the subscription, we wanted it to apply to soaps only. So you can see here a little note to let you know that the subscription won't apply to this product because it's not in a current plan. So that gives you a bit more control over which products it's actually displayed in. And that is our subscription app. So it's very user-friendly, quite straightforward. So the next thing we're going to do is take a look at the Shopify Bundles app. So Shopify Bundles is a free tool to help you create fixed bundles and multi-packs. So it's a proven strategy that's used by many merchants to increase the average order value, and there's a lot of different techniques that can be used to do so. So for example, if you have a very high performing product, for example, you could add that in with a product that maybe doesn't sell as much, bundle them together, or bundle products that are similar, or if you wanted to make a holiday pack, or for example with Sarah's soaps, you could do a kind of a gift basket type of a thing. So there's many different uses you can have for bundles. There's also a survey conducted which shows that 86% of Shopify merchants did report an increase of their order value due to the use of bundles. So this does show that it is a very effective tool to be using. So something to note is this is the data on the bundle strategy as opposed to the bundles app specifically, but using bundles helps increase the average order value for merchants who do so. And then another thing to mention is that it can be applicable to merchants all across different industries. So, for example, it wouldn't need to be used just in cases like I mentioned with Sarah's Soaps, my test store here. So it can be used for many different types of stores for many different reasons. So it's great in that sense that it is very versatile. And so it can also help to drive business growth. So as I mentioned a moment ago, it can increase your average order value. You can group maybe some less popular products with the more popular ones in a bundle deal to help sell those products. And there's lots of different applications that can be had for the Bundles app. So let's take a look at the app itself and how it works. So we'll go into apps here, choose bundles, and then create bundle. So we can add in our title, and we can call it soap bundle. Then we can choose our products here. So again, we'll add in our soaps. And hit select when we've picked the products we need. Then here we can choose the amount of products in the bundle. So for example, instead you could have 3 of each. There'd be 9 soaps altogether. And then here we see a couple of different options. So you could add the quantity as an option. Here we see the ability to choose if you wanted to have 1, 2, or 3 of these. So it gives a little bit more flexibility for the customer. So here you can see for the orange soap, they could choose if they wanted to have 1, 2, or 3 of that particular soap. And then you can edit that later if needed. And then back here in our 3 dots, you You can choose to duplicate the product. So that means that there will be two of them. So you might want to have a couple of one product and maybe one of another, whichever kind of a setup works. So you can do that. And then third option here is you can remove a product. So if you change your mind, you can just remove it. And then here in edit, you can edit the quantities for the product, or you can set it as the default value. So this is kind of the standard that's used. So we go back to our 3. And then once we are happy enough with everything, we can save and continue. Have a little look here at the summary of how the bundle will look. And then if you're happy enough to go ahead, you hit your save and continue. And then you can see here a new draft soap bundle product has been created. So it pretty much works the same as a regular product at this point. You can see here that it was created by bundles. So you know it originated from the app, and then the variants would be the quantity here. And then the rest of it works pretty much the same as your regular product would. So you can add your Shopify Magic description. So you can generate a little description here if you wanted. You want it to have a persuasive tone, so you want people to buy your bundle. And then if you had any instructions you wanted to add in, you could put those in for the Shopify Magic tool, and then you can generate. And you see here a suggestion came up, so if you don't like it, you can downvote it, provide a bit of feedback, or you can decide to keep it. And then you can add in your variant images, since this would be a little bit different with the product bundle. So you can add those in as well to make it a little bit more specific. And then maybe you want to add a little video of your bundle, your gift basket or box, or an image maybe. So that can be done here. And then you can save your changes up at the top. And then once the product is ready to go, you can change it to active, save. And then you see it's gone live in your store here as well. Okay, so next we can have a little look at our online store. See if we can find our product. And here it is. So you can see it is a little bit expensive for my soaps, but they're very good quality. And then we can navigate back here to the store. And then quick look back in our bundles app. Then you can see your soap bundle here. So you can go in and have a look at it, see how it's set up. So one thing to note is that the bundle itself can be edited here. So the amount of products and also some of the options, the quantity options, things like that. So you can kind of play around with it here. But if you wanted to actually delete it, you can go into the bundle product and then delete it as a regular product. That would be the best way to go about it. So that pretty much covers everything for the bundles. Again, it's quite straightforward to use, free app with Shopify as well, and it's a pretty quick setup too. So depending on what kind of setup you want to use, it can be very, very quick and easy addition to your store. Okay, so the next thing we're going to discuss is the one-page checkout. So this is a feature a lot of you have been very excited about. To be honest, we've been very excited about here at Shopify as well. So the one-page checkout is Shopify's redesigned, streamlined checkout experience. So it's similar in that it has a seamless identity-driven checkout. So it would be like Shop Pay, PayPal Express, or Google or Apple Pay, where it's identity driven, like those different payment options. The highlight of Shopify's one-page checkout would be that it reduces the steps required to complete the checkout for customers. So if you remember, there was the previous three-page checkout where customers would navigate from tab to tab as they're going through the checkout experience. So the new one-page checkout would minimize the friction and maximize the conversions for a merchant's customers. So we have also observed that there is a 4-second faster checkout completion time with the one-page checkout, so it leads to a much more smoother customer experience and potentially a higher conversion rate as well due to that. We've also received some feedback that there is now less customer queries on payment methods, and there's also immediate access to shipping options. So that was a little bit of a thing that we were getting feedback about from both merchants and their customers, where they weren't able to kind of see that information right away, whereas now it's all on the one page. So there is, with all that said, there is still the option to choose between the one-page and three-page layout. So, for example, some merchants might still prefer to use the three-page checkout for stores that have extensive information that they would require, that they'd be required or need to collect for the checkout, and it needs to be done step by step. So that's perfectly fine. You can choose whichever works best for your store setup, and you can navigate between the two, which we're going to touch on in a moment. So to kind of summarize, the one-page checkout can really help enhance business growth for merchants. So as we mentioned earlier, it can really streamline that experience for the customers and also lead to the possibility of faster conversions. So with that said, let's take a look at the one-page checkout. So in order to have a look at that, we'll go down to settings in our bottom left, and then head to checkout. And then on the checkout page, customize checkout. So that will bring you directly into your theme editor. Or if you want to navigate from online store themes and customize the checkout from there, you would just select checkout here at the top and the theme settings on the left-hand side. So next we'll scroll down in the theme settings all the way down to checkout. You can see it's already opened up here. So if you're coming from the online store themes direction, you just open up the checkout option here and then scroll all the way past the different options until you get to checkout layout. So you can see here at the moment it's set to one page. Then if I wanted to change it back, we can choose the three-page checkout here. So we can just select it and then save if that's what we wanted to do. And then we can go back here without saving our changes, and then have a little look at our online store. So we can see we should have the bundles from earlier. Yes, our soaps. So we can go to checkout, have a look and see what that looks like. And then we see our one-page checkout here. So we can do express checkout through PayPal, Google Pay for this particular store. We see our order information here on the right-hand side, and then all the information that was typically spread out over the 3 pages or 4, including the cart, is condensed into a one-page checkout. So we have our contact information, our delivery, the shipping method, which in this case shows up after you've input your address, and then your payment, whatever you choose, and then pay now here at the bottom. So it's all done through that one-page checkout experience. And that is our one-page checkout. Yeah. So let's go back to the home page here. And then the next thing we are going to be discussing is the fulfillable inventory. So fulfillable inventory is a feature that we've developed to ensure that buyers only view and purchase items with inventory in a location that can ship to their region. So this will really help businesses in selling stock from a specific warehouse to customers in the corresponding regions. So the highlights of this would include the elimination of cross-market overselling, reduced shipping costs and time as well, and fewer cancelled orders. So it will make sure that merchants are able to sell the right inventory to the right audience or the right customers. It'll optimize the inventory management and reduce the international shipping costs as well. So this particular feature would be ideal for merchants selling in multiple markets, who would want to restrict inventory to a particular market, or those offering in-store pickup without fulfilling online orders from retail stores, for example. So this feature, fulfillable inventory, really supports robust fulfillment strategy, which will aid in business growth. So let's take a little look at that and how it will work in the context of our store here. So we're going to head on over to settings again, and then shipping and delivery. Then go into our general shipping rates. So if we scroll down here, we have our shipping origins, so we can see the UK address here. And then underneath, we have the shipping zones. So this is the zones that this address ships to. So we can see the EU, international, United Kingdom. And then if we scroll down a little bit, we have another shipping origin. So we have our address here in the United States. And then the shipping zone is the US. So it ships specifically within the US. So in this particular example, most orders will be fulfilled from the UK warehouse. And then if anything is being shipped to the US, it'll be sent from the US warehouse. So it'll be domestic. So we can see how this will really benefit a lot of merchants and cater to their specific setup and where they might have a presence or a warehouse or where they're shipping from. So in order to ensure that fulfillable inventory is set up within this shipping section, we'll go back to settings and then shipping and delivery. And then here we see manage fulfillable inventory. Then if we click on that, we see the two options here. So we can sell only within the configured shipping zones, which means that the products that are stocked at locations that don't ship to the customer's shipping zone won't fulfill those orders. So it'll prevent the purchase of those particular products from another shipping zone. Or else we can sell from all locations to all shipping zones. So there's no restriction on which location can fulfill certain orders. So we choose whichever option we prefer here, and then we can save at the bottom. So the next thing that we're going to do is have a look at a product example and how this would work. So we'll go to products and have a look at our vanilla soap. And then if we scroll down a little bit here, we can see that we have 0 stocked in the US warehouse, but it is available in the UK warehouse. So basically, this would mean for this particular product, it would only be sent to the shipping zones that the UK fulfills from it. So it wouldn't accidentally be sent to the US customers. So to see this in action, we can go to our online store and then have a look at our vanilla soap. Okay, so we can see it's showing it's sold out here. If we choose the United Kingdom, we can see that it is available. So we can add 5 to cart, for example, and then that works for you. And then to use the example that we were looking at on the product page, the United States, you can see it's showing up for the as sold out for the US. So go back to the UK, and then let's go to our checkout. We'll remove our soap bundle from earlier. Okay. So let's add in our details here. Oops. Shopify.com. And then let's choose the United Kingdom. And then put in a random address. Then we see our shipping pop up. Now let's try the United States. Put in a random address, Washington, and then we see the item is out of stock and not available for that particular location. So that's what it looks like from a customer viewpoint. And then that pretty much covers everything to do with the fulfillable inventory feature. So if you do find that you have any questions regarding that or the setup, you can post it in the webinar as we go along. You can ask our Shopify community team as well, and they'd be happy to go through that with you. And that goes for any of the topics discussed today as well. Okay, perfect. So let's go back to our home. And then the next topic that we are going to go over is exchanges. So exchanges is a feature that will allow merchants like yourselves to manage, track, and report on exchanges for online orders from the Shopify admin. So it will allow you to have the ability to send customer notifications for transparency and support all transactional outcomes. So with the US merchants, they can send return shipping labels within the experience as well. The offering of exchanges can also retain more revenue compared to refunds. And this feature is built in and completely free of cost as well. So it's a better option instead of, for example, a customer wanting a refund because they got the wrong size or color or something like that. You have the opportunity to save that sale through an exchange as opposed to a refund. So this particular feature would be ideal for merchants who are offering returns or they're currently managing exchanges with maybe some time-consuming workarounds within Shopify at the minute. So this is a really great feature that can facilitate the growth of the business by optimizing your return management. So let's take a little look at how this will work on your store. So when your customer requests to exchange an item, you can now manage and track them within Shopify. So to do so, you can go to orders from your admin and then choose your fulfilled order. And then you see the option here at the top right for return. And then you'll be brought to the exchange option here. So you can choose the item that you want to return. So you can see there's no refund for this particular order as it was generated as a test order, but typically you'll see a refund if that option is chosen. If you wanted to refund for a specific item or that kind of a thing. So there's a few different options there. Then you can choose the reason here under the product. So as I was mentioning earlier, you can have that the size is too small, too large, change of mind, that kind of a thing. And then under exchange items, you can add a product. So what you'd like to switch it out for. So maybe you would like or the customer would like the olive oil instead. Perfect. And then let me use another example here. You can add in the cream towel. And then you see once the amount is over what was originally paid, it shows what the customer has to pay, and that works in the inverse as well. So if they're exchanging for an item that was or that is less than what they paid initially, then they would be eligible for a refund of the difference. So you can add in whatever you'd like there and then remove if you want as well. So we'll actually exchange it for another soap. Perfect. And then we can have a little look here at the shipping. So you can upload your return label. So you can upload the return label you've generated, maybe through a third-party app or your own shipping option. You can add a return label URL as well for the customer, and then you can input your tracking number, the shipping carrier, or else if an item is being collected maybe by the store or being dropped in or that kind of a thing, you could just put no shipping required. And then once we're good to go, we'll see the option here to create the return on the right. So once that has been done, the customer will receive a notification with the return information. So let us try that here, see what happens. And then you can see the order has been updated. So it's been placed on a hold. So basically that means that you're waiting for the items to be returned to the warehouse or whichever storage location you use. And then once it does and your staff has had time to inspect it, you can choose the restock button here to say that the item is back and has been restocked. And that'll make sure that your inventory quantities will remain aligned and the same within the Shopify admin, so it's ready for selling. And then you can choose release fulfillment to exchange the other item. So you can create the return shipping labels if you are in the US. That can be done directly from your admin, or else you can also proceed with the fulfillment if you're not located within the US. So then let's have a look at this restock option as well. So you can see, just confirm everything and where you want to restock, and then hit your restock item. And let's see, fulfill item. Okay, perfect. So yes, this is what I was referring to a moment ago. You can add your tracking information here and decide whether you want to notify the customer of the shipment as well, and then you can hit fulfill item when you're ready. So let's see here. Perfect. So you still have the option here to add your tracking afterwards if you'd like, so you can see items being returned, exchanged, and the replacement fulfilled. So it's all managed within your order page. Okay, great. So next we're going to have a look at the new web performance dashboard. So the web performance dashboard, to give a little bit of background, is replacing the online store speed score with a real user monitoring dashboard, or RUM for short. So the three core web vitals for this are the large contentful paint, the LCP, which measures the loading speed based on how fast the largest element or main content becomes visible to visitors on the screen. So a good LCP score is achieved when the main content is loaded within 2.5 seconds from the start of the page load. The second of the three web vitals is the first input delay, the FID. So this measures the interactivity, so based on how long it takes the page to become responsive to user actions. So for example, clicking a link on the website or a button, that kind of a thing. So a page is considered well performing if it has a FID of less than 100 milliseconds. So this means that it would become interactive quite quickly. Then the last one is the cumulative layout shift, the CLS, and this measures the visual stability based on how the content shifts around unexpectedly during loading. So a well-performing page should have a CLS score of less than 0.1. So we are aware of this update for one of the three core web vitals, and we are making the update to the dashboard in March, and so it should be around mid-March. So the exposure of the RUM API for custom dashboards will also include some additional metrics if you want to. So the dashboards used for understanding factors contributing to buyer experience and recommending improvements is also going to be a factor of the new web performance dashboard. And this will also provide great value as it's a trusted insight into the store's real user experience. So a little bit more detailed than what was previously available. So it can potentially impact the page ranking and sales. So it's good to kind of see this information and how it can be improved. So it's ideal for existing merchants of Shopify looking to monitor and improve their store's buyer experience. And the new web performance dashboard can also enhance business growth by optimizing the buyer experience. So let's take a little look at how this is going to look. So from the admin, we can go to online store and then themes. And then we can see here are three options. So we have loading speed. This brings us to our web performance. So the largest contentful paint, as mentioned, this measures the speed of the store, so how fast the largest elements or aspects of the content shows up on the screen. And then next we have the interactivity here, or the first input delay. So this measures how long it's going to take the page to respond to something a customer does on the page if they're clicking the buy button or going into a product or a link or that kind of a thing. So that's what's measured there in the second option. And then the visual stability, again, to remind you, is the cumulative layout shift. So this is basically measuring how the content might shift or move around unexpectedly during loading, or to the extent to which this happens. So to kind of remind yourself, as some of you might not be familiar with the terms here, the best way to kind of look at it is to see the bolded part here, which kind of gives you an idea of what's being measured as opposed to the specific terms here that we mentioned earlier. And then if we kind of hover over them a little bit, we can see the definitions as well. And then we can see here that this particular store has less than 1 second for 75% of the visits, so it's optimal. Here in the second option, interactivity, first input delay, we're less than 1.2 milliseconds, so we're in good standing here for this one too. And then the visual stability, cumulative layout shift, we're at 0.09. So we're in the good category as well. So you'll see these specific to your store once the option becomes available. So here we have some tips as well, some best practices for improving your performance. So some tips that you can have a look at. So if you've any unused apps, you can delete those because they may leave some script in your theme that can delay your page rendering. So even if you're not using the app itself, maybe you don't have a need for it, the code or the script might still be there within the theme. So it's better just to delete it and remove it fully if you're able to do so. Limit the use of your tracking pixels. So using too many tracking pixels will slow your site down. So it's best to kind of optimize these, only use the necessary ones that you need to have, and then try and consolidate them where possible. So we have our Web Pixels API link here. So this will help you listen for analytics events in a more performant and secure way. Then the next one here is to serve the best image to every device. So making sure your theme is responsive to the image techniques. So we have a link to one of our blog posts on this as well that you can follow. And then you can see here our CDN optimizes for quality and the latest formats as well. So we do quite a bit of this in the background. So just kind of making sure that the images and the videos are optimized to make sure that they work. Maybe if you have very, very high quality videos or images for certain customers, could be very slow to load, or just kind of making sure or being aware of the different devices customers might be using as well, such as a mobile phone or tablet or that kind of a thing. And then finally we have the tip to keep your theme updated. So the Shopify themes have a very high standard. So that would often include performance improvements in the updates. So by updating your theme, you're kind of making sure that this is up to date as well. So it's a very easy way to go about it and just make sure it's aligned with the latest version of the theme that you're using. And then on the right here, we have a couple of resources. So we can see here our resource on discovering our core web vitals, how they can impact SEO rankings, core web vitals on the Shopify performance blog, and here is a link to run a simulated test, and then you have an option to get some expert help as well. So the next thing we can do here is have a look at the loading speed. So this goes into this particular report in a little bit more detail. So here again we have our metrics, the benchmarks and resources and best practices. And then, like on a report, you have your different options. You can choose to look at all devices, desktop, mobile, choose a time frame, and then between daily, weekly, and monthly. And then for the interactivity, it's the same case, the first input delay, the FID. So you can look at your different options, you can see the reporting, and there'll be an indicator here as well of the benchmark and where you kind of are lying at the moment. And then visual stability, cumulative layout shift, CLS, same case here as well. Okay, and then up here in the top right, you can see you can choose to look at all devices or maybe just desktop or mobile, and then you can see that data specific to the device as well. Then we have some options here on the three dots, so you can view the specific documentation for CLS, cumulative layout shift, your visual stability, and then here you can choose to go into the report, and it's the same for all three if you look at the three dots. And that is pretty much everything we were looking to cover in this section. So next we're going to navigate back to our home, and we are going to have a look at our privacy and compliance. So the privacy and compliance is basically a new centralized feature in the admin settings for configuring customer privacy settings. So it has the ability to help merchants easily meet compliance requirements with features like privacy policies, cookie banners, and data sales update pages. So as you probably know or might have gathered, these were existing options, but now it's a little bit more consolidated into the one privacy and compliance area within the settings. So it is very important for merchants to make sure that they meet the data protection and privacy obligations of their particular region. So this would be ideal for merchants who are selling in the US, EU, or UK, for example. So with the EU, you have your GDPR GDPR laws, and then in certain states like California in the US, there are particular privacy laws. So making sure that your store is compliant in the countries or regions that you're selling to. Um, so this is a great feature that will help merchants to support business growth by ensuring that they comply with the regulations of the places that they're selling to. So let's take a little look at this by going to your settings and then having a look in customer privacy. Okay, and then here we can see that we have a couple of different options. We have our privacy policy, which is in our policy settings. So we can quickly go in and take a look here. So this is our template that we're using that hasn't been edited, but that's the privacy policy. And then we have our cookie banner, which has been activated already. So you can see what regions you've activated for. You can edit those. So for example, maybe you didn't want to have the policies in all the different regions. Maybe just need it for EU, UK, and US, for example. You can untick whichever countries you need, or the different regions as well. And then once you're happy enough with your chosen options, you can save. And then you can see where it's been activated. So you can also have a look through the different options here. So you can go to more actions, turn off cookie banner. And then lastly, you can view what that looks like as well. So you can see here, this is how it's been set up currently. You can manage your preferences, a little bit of information. You can accept or decline. Okay, so that's your cookie banner. Then you have your data sales update. So this is a update page that you can use for customers to choose whether their data gets shared with third parties. So at the moment you can see it's activated in the US for a couple of states. Then you can amend those as needed. Then you have our update page that you can go in and edit. So this is what the standard page looks like. And then back in our customer privacy, you can choose where this shows up as well. So you can have it in the footer, you can have it in your main menu, and then again you can go to your view here just to see what that looks like. And then in more actions, you have the option here to delete the page. And then in your marketing settings, you can go in and choose what you would like to offer the customer at checkout. So you can allow them to sign up for email or SMS text marketing. So here you can have it pre-selected if you'd like, or you could choose to have email and SMS, so whichever you prefer. And then you have the option here to customize how that looks, which will bring you to your theme settings, your theme content. So under checkout marketing, you can amend the current text and have it written the way you'd like. So if we go back here to our customer privacy, we'll have a look at the next one here, which is doubling in for marketing. So you can choose to have them confirm and give consent to email and SMS marketing. So you can toggle that on and decide who you want to have that option for as well. All right. Then if you look at our privacy, customer privacy, we can also go back into our cookie banner and have a little bit of a closer look into the different areas. So we touched on the different regions that you'd like to have it visible for. Also, you can choose what the appearance looks like. So here's the banner itself that we're looking at in the example store. And then the cookie preferences. So this is what it looks like at the moment. And if we hit customize, you can choose the theme. So you can have your colors, you can have light, dark, depending on the theme layout. And you can have a title if you'd like, or you can remove that fully, whichever you prefer. And then change the wording. And then you can see here in the content a little bit of text and then details in our, and then privacy policy, and then the link to the privacy policy. And then here's what it looks like on the actual storefront itself. And then we have our different buttons. We have accept, decline, manage preferences. You can reword those if you'd like. And then in the cookie preferences, it's the same thing. You can give it a title, remove it fully, change the wording. And then you can do the same for your buttons, your introduction, title, content. And then in the summary, you can choose to toggle that off if you'd like, or change the wording here. And then same for the essential cookies, performance cookies, preference cookies, marketing, and so on. Then once you're happy enough, you can preview if you'd like, see what that looks like for the store, and then save when you're ready. So that's the cookie appearance. And then at the very bottom, we have an option here. So when we were looking at the preview earlier, we could see this cookie banner appearing in the bottom center. So you can choose how you'd like it to appear, full width at the bottom. You can have it up in the center, bottom left, bottom right, whatever your preference is. So that pretty much covers all of the options here in our privacy and compliance. So let's go back here and have a look again. So the next thing we're going to do is go back to our home page. So next we're going to look at some Shopify POS updates. So the updates for POS are some additional customization options, including direct code editing for printed receipts. So the new Liquid Code editor's flexibility will allow for customizing the layout, the logo, font, text, and QR codes. So it actually addresses our number one retail merchant frustration or developer feedback, which is printed receipt customization. So this will be an ideal feature for merchants with physical retail locations, particularly larger merchants with complex needs and access to development resources. So the Shopify POS updates can enhance the business growth by allowing unique brand representation on the receipts. So let's take a little look at how that's going to work. So from the sales channels, we navigate down to point of sale, and then settings. Then under checkout, we look at receipt customization, and then we'll go into our visual editor. Here we can see on the left-hand side, we can add in text in our header, and the same for our footer. Then it appears in the bottom here. And then with the POS Pro, there's some additional editing capabilities here, such as adding the logo, barcode, staff details, order notes, and more. And then if you wanted to have a look at that and see what's available, you can follow the link here. So to look at the available customizations, we go up to the three dots on the top left, and then hit Edit Code. And then in the pop-up window that appears, we hit Edit Code again. And then that brings you into the editor for the receipt. So from here, you can see the options to update the code. And then on the right-hand side, you can see an example. And it actually updates live as you make changes. So you can see how your code changes are going to affect the receipt. So for example, we'll do a very simple change here to the largest font, which is 3, and make that 8. And you can see here straight away, it got a lot bigger. So you can make any necessary changes to your code, and then it will reflect there on the right-hand side for you. So some things to note is that the changes made via the code editor only apply to Pro locations. So you would need to have a particular POS location using Pro in order for it to reflect there. Also, if you have any checkboxes enabled that are applied to the layout, this can be used as a base, so there's no need to start from scratch. And then also, if you do make any changes and you realize you've made a mistake or you just want to revert, it is possible to return to the current layout at any time. So if we have a look here, we can also see in example order data that we can actually choose an existing order. So right now we're looking at an example one, but if you want to look at an actual order, you can click on that option, and then you see here you can search between your orders in the pop-up, or else in my case there's just one, so I can select that and confirm. And now we're looking at a real order from the store. So that could be good to have in certain cases where you want to look at a specific order and how the receipt will look for that order type based on maybe the products or that kind of a thing. So that pretty much covers everything here in the editing section. So the next thing we can have a look at is the main page. And then if we look in code editor, we'll see that it brings you directly back to where we were. So that's a bit of a quicker way of getting there if you want to edit your code as opposed to going through the visual editor. And then in the printing options, you can see your locations and go into those. And then you can choose if you'd like automatic receipt printing, or you can toggle that off as well. And then you can choose the number of receipts that are generated at checkout. So that is set to 1 by default, but I had it at 2 when I was testing earlier, so we can change that back to 1. And then the same would apply for any other locations that you might have. So this is available for Pro locations only, and so is the code editor, and then the visual editor is available for your POS Lite locations. So that pretty much covers everything when it comes to the POS point of sale updates. And then as usual, you have your options here on the top right. And then we have our staff, locations, devices. But in terms of updates, that was the one we were covering for today. So let's head back to the home page. All right, so last but definitely not least, we're going to be discussing some updates to the Shopify Collabs app. So basically these updates will be enhancing the tool for recruiting creators for deeper connections. So we'll have some newer features for easier discovery of creators across social platforms, including location filters, audience filters, and keyword search options. So you'll be able to search for a particular word and it'll bring up the applicable creators for you. And so the up-to-date database of content creators and social media influencers will be very beneficial for merchants in finding their ideal partnerships. So that's going to make things a lot easier and more straightforward for merchants using the app. So the update also will allow merchants to find more relevant creator information, so it'll lead to more fruitful partnerships. So this will be ideal for merchants who are working with creators to drive more sales for the store, and also merchants that are interested in using Shopify collabs that maybe haven't as of yet. So it'll enhance the business growth by facilitating impactful merchant creator partnerships, to kind of summarize there. So let's take a look and see what these updates look like in the test store here. So we'll go into apps and then collabs. And then next, we're going to go into recruiting. And then we're going to do a search by keywords. So maybe we can do soap. See what that brings up. So we can see that brought up some results for creators that discuss beauty, health and wellness. So it kind of knows what I was going for there by searching soap specifically. So that's how the search function works there, to provide kind of more specific or relevant information. The keywords are enhanced and improved. And then we can filter by location. So maybe we're looking for, so maybe we're looking for United States only. That brings up a particular set of creators, or maybe UK only. So you can see here, you get your specific results. And then you can also filter by social accounts. So maybe you're just looking for creators on TikTok at the moment, or maybe with YouTube, if they do reviews or unboxing, that kind of a thing. Instagram as well, maybe. So whichever your preferences are, or whatever might work best for what you're looking for. And then on the right here, we also have the option to add the audience filter. So you can put in a minimum. Oops. You can put in from maybe 10,000 to 1 million. And then go back here and take a look and see what results we have. And then once we're happy enough with those, we can click on a creator that we're interested in. So we can go into our first one here. And then you see a little bit of information about the creator, where they're from, that they're verified, and the categories, their social accounts, and the audience and engagement for those as well. And then you can click on the invite creator option here to send them an invitation, and you can then add them to an affiliate tier by clicking on the select tier, and you can also add a gift too. So I left that option off on our particular store here for the moment, since it's for testing purposes. But when you click on invite creator, that's what you'll be able to do. And then lastly, we have this section here where you can see the media. So you have some examples. You can go directly to YouTube, or else the next tab, you can have a look at their Instagram as well. And that pretty much covers everything in terms of the collabs updates. So you have all your different options there for getting results more catered to your store and your needs. And then up here we have our option to invite by email. You can invite a creator here through email, or you can share your profile as well to get applications from creators. And that pretty much covers everything for today. Thank you so much for joining us today to discuss our Winter Editions 2024 offerings. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to our Shopify community, and our team will be happy to help you out. Thank you very much once again, and we hope to see you at our next webinar. Goodbye.